Chapter 3. And in those days, Yohanan the Immerser came proclaiming in the wilderness of Yehuda, and saying, Repent, for the reign of the heavens has come near. For this is he who was spoken of by the prophet Yeshayahu, saying, One crying in the wilderness, Prepare the way of Yahuwah, make his paths straight. And Yohanan, having a garment of camel's hair, prepared a leather girdle around his waist, and his food was locusts and wild honey. Then Jerusalem and all Yehuda and all the country around the Jordan went out to him, and they were immersed by him in the Jordan, confessing their sins. And seeing many of the Pharisees and Sadducees coming to his immersion, he said to them, Brood of adders, who has warned you to flee from the coming wrath? Bear, therefore, fruits worthy of repentance, and do not think to say to yourselves, We have Abraham as our father. For I say to you that Elohim is able to raise up children to Abraham from these stones. And the axe is already laid to the root of the trees. Every tree, then, which does not bear good fruit, is cut down and thrown into the fire. I indeed immerse you in water unto repentance. But he who is coming after me is mightier than I, whose sandals I am not worthy to bear. He shall immerse you in a set-apart spirit in fire. His winnowing fork is in his hand. He shall thoroughly cleanse his threshing floor, and gather his wheat into the storehouse. But the chaff he shall burn with unquenchable fire. Then Yahushua came to Galil, to Yohanan, at the Jordan, to be immersed by him. But Yohanan was hindering him, saying, I need to be immersed by you, and you come to me? But Yahushua, answering, said to him, Permit it now, for thus it is fitting for us to fulfill all righteousness. Then he permitted him. And having been immersed, Yahushua went up immediately from the water, and see, the heavens were opened, and he saw the Spirit of Elohim descending like a dove and coming upon him. And see, a voice out of the heavens saying, This is my Son, the beloved, in whom I did delight. Chapter 4. Then Yahushua was led up by the Spirit into the wilderness to be tried by the devil. And after having fasted 40 days and 40 nights, he was hungry. And the trier came and said to him, If you are the Son of Elohim, command that these stones become bread. But he, answering, said, It has been written, Man shall not live by bread alone, but by every word that comes from the mouth of Yahuwah. Then the devil took him up into the set-apart city, and set him on the edge of the set-apart place, and said to him, If you are the Son of Elohim, throw yourself down, for it has been written, He shall command his messengers concerning you, and in their hands they shall bear you up, so that you do not dash your foot against a stone. And Yahushua said to him, It has also been written, You shall not try Yahuwah your Elohim. Again the devil took him up on a very high mountain, and showed him all the reigns of the world and their esteem, and said to him, All
Shalom, 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 shalom. Welcome to another True Disciples of Christ Bible study. If you're not talking, could you please kindly show some decorum and mute your mic so I don't have to challenge that, or anyone else speaking don't have to challenge that? I mean, that goes without saying. So shalom, welcome to another True Disciples of Christ Bible study. Everything that we say here is rooted in the Word. through the spirit of Hamashiach. Tonight we have a very, very interesting topic. For whatever reason, as Moray Ali Nefertali or Nefertali Israel prophesied, there's an influx of prisoners reaching out to me. There's a huge influx of prisoners. I mean, over the past couple of weeks, it just shot up and up and up and up. So there's a huge influx of prisoners that's actually literally been reaching out. Today, I checked the mail, and I believe it may have actually been a money order from a prisoner. I didn't open it. I just done a return to sender because I can't move wrong. All eyes are on me, waiting for me to make a wrong movement. And on top of that, some of these people could have been sent. So I followed the Ruach HaKadosh. If the spirit tells me to stay away from something and don't touch it, then I don't touch it. I follow the spirit. I do not follow emotions. See, I can't be bought. I'm not a whore, and I'm not for sale. There's no price that someone could throw in front of me and entice me to sell out. They've sent women. They've sent women that attempted to lie. I know the enemy sent these women. Women trying to entice me with sex. They've sent people that attempt to entice me with money, with material things. But I'm still standing. Because what I require is not of this world. See, what I require is salvation. I can't be bought, and I can't be sold. See, my soul is already sold to Hamashiach for immortality. That's my focus. I'm first seeking the kingdom of the Most High and His Son. Then all the other things, as many of you witness, are being given to me. But these material things mean nothing. They could take this all away from me today and I'll still survive. And I'll get it all back if I want. Because with Hamashiach, all things are possible. And I'm a living witness to that. So me and the Ak, Moray Ali, have been talking in the background while other people's been busy going on with their merry life, put most of their time into their just over broke. You don't have any time for the Most High. I'm talking to most of you. See, you got time for the Most High when you're finished your just over broke. You don't have no time for the Most High. You say, yeah, Tazadaq, I got to get to work. I got to work. See, during the judgment, as Hamashiach says, he's not going to know you because you don't have any time for him. If you put him first, then he'll put you first. See, but most of us, we make time for everything else, but we don't make time to save our souls. We put that on the back burner. We push that to the back of the line because we think that we have a lot of time until sudden destruction utterly strikes. So it is with the people in prison. See, the people in prison is like a death sentence. Even if you're not on death row, if you got life in prison, that's a death sentence. So you're walking around in a comatose state. You got men taking their sexual organ, running up inside of other men and thinking nothing of it. They become animalistic.
Okay.
You got men that see other men's wives come in for visitation and they're jacking off to her, fully clothed, beast in human form. See, when you, it is not meant, it is against the nature of a man to be enclosed like that and isolated. Man by nature is supposed to be a social creature. But when you confine him, it bring out an animalistic state. And so the people that study your genealogy and the social sciences, they know this. And this is why they do it. And this is why the prisons are filled with us. Prisons are filled with us, Ali. More than any other people, the prisons are filled with us.
Yes. Yeah.
So you say we're the chosen people. But if we're the chosen people, why are we filling the prisons and the cemeteries? The number one species to die by homicide in the world, Ali, is a so-called Israelite man of the so-called Negro descent. By far. No one else is even close when it comes to homicide. Why? Because you turned away from the Lord's statutes and commandments. You won't keep these laws. This is why you're filling the prison holes. So what me and the good Moray Ali was discussing is that we're going to go to the prisoners. And through the Ruach, we're going to sort out who's really coming through the Ruach HaKodesh, who's really sincere and who's really rooted in their faith, or who's really just trying to run a scheme and beat the system. And in order to do that, I think the Moray Ali brought up a brilliant idea, stating you have to have someone inside the prison that's screening these people to ensure that they're legitimate. Your take on this, Moray Ali?
Yeah, I think that would be a wonderful idea, because you have a lot of pretenders in there, and you just mentioned a lot of the, things that are going in there that is against the Most High's laws, commandments, and statutes. So I think that would be the best thing and the best approach to do is to, like you said, start most definitely reach in there and align ourselves with maybe one of the Hebrew Israelite elders that is already in there. So if these brothers, you want to have some eyes on the inside of that place, because a lot of guys don't want to be in there, and they will sell you whatever they can sell you, whatever story it is, in order to get out of there. A lot of women can testify to that, how sweet guys are over the phone, and women too, how sweet women can be over the phone. But once they come out of there, their hearts really aligned to go ahead and continue to worship the Most High and do away with the reprobated mindset. And, it's a lot of awful things taking place in there. There's no doubt. I know a lot of us, the Hebrew Israelite brothers that we're studying in there, we actually happened to look up that word hail, and it took us to the Strong's Concordance 87585. And one of the words that they use to is inmates, ironically. And you could imagine some of the same things that you hear about the description of hell, the garnishing and gnashing of teeth.
I think you blinked out, Brother Ali. Unless it's just my system.
No, he did it on mine as well.
Yeah, there has
You're
to
going
be
in and out, Ali.
Salaki.
Yeah.
Okay, is that better?
No, I mean we can hear you now, but for a while you had blinked out.
Oh, okay. Salaki. Yeah, I was just stating, I do agree with you. Something most definitely has to be done as far as trying to get those brothers pre-screened, if not by way of someone inside, but they'll most definitely have to at least be forthcoming with that police report, because
Right.
that's probably the best way to approach this too. If a lot of those brothers are in there wanting help, take in consideration, brothers, because I know you all got devices to listen to these broadcastings. Your police report is going to be heavily examined. And of course, if it's against the Most High's ruling, you overstand. No one wants to touch that anyway, because you're impeding commerce. This is what it comes down to.
Come on. So we're going to get into this lesson, and we're going to see why there's so many of us in prison. And it's because you don't want to keep these laws, just like the women. You don't want to keep the laws. You want to do what you want to do when you want to do it. So you can't do that with the Most High. And you can't do that with the Most High. You can't do that with me, because I'm the man of the Most High. I'm made in his image and likeness, and I intend to walk as he walk. So if he say don't do a thing, then you can't do that with me. And if you continuously try to do it, you're not going to like me. But it's not really me that you don't like. It's Hamashiach that you don't like. Because he said the world can't hate you, but me hate it. See, you don't like me because I echo his Lord's statutes and commandments. That's why you don't like me. You want to live worldly. You can do that, but you can't do that around me. See, if you're trying to be around me, I'm going to keep cutting you with this wire. Either you're all right or you're not right at all. You can't just do some things, sisters. You can't just do what you want to do and listen to your husband when you want to do. No, either you're all right or you're not right at all. I don't know about the other brothers, but I don't need that.
Yeah,
I'll replace her like I replace a pair of socks, Ali.
Gang.
Walk right away.
Oh,
I'll put a new pair of socks on and walk right away. Because when my time, is being wasted, I'm out of there. So we're going to go into the scriptures, and we're going to see why there's so many of us, why so many of these brothers are reaching out from prison. And we're going to start with the book of Yeshaya, 42 and 22. The book of Isaiah, 42 and 22.
Book of Yeshaya, Isaiah chapter 42, verse 22. But this is a people robbed and spoiled. They are, all of them, snared in holes, and they are hid in prison houses. They
All
are
right,
for
so that's a prophecy right there. Now, Mori Ali, there's no one on this earth that fits that prophecy more than the so-called Black and so-called Hispanic people, the males in general. There's no one that fit that prophecy more than that.
That's right.
For this is a people robbed and spoiled. They are snared in the holes. They throw you in the hole, Ali. You do stuff where you're in prison, they throw you in the hole, what they call the hole. Solitary confinement.
Mm-hmm.
Solitary confinement is designed to destroy a man, not just physically, Ali, but it works more on his mental.
Yes.
It destroys his spirit.
Yeah.
He come out of there with demons on him, talking to himself. Some of them trying to commit suicide in there. Because as I stated at the inception of this lesson, Man is meant to be a social creature. He's not meant to be isolated. So the prophecy says, but this is a people robbed and spoiled. They are all of them snared in holes. They are all hid in prison houses. Finish it out, General Yashabi.
They are for a prey, and none delivereth, for a spoil, and none saith restore.
So no one comes to save them. When we're preyed upon, no one comes to save us. There's no one that came to deliver us. We're spoiled. A spoil was like a booty of war. So that means they're benefiting off of your labor while you're in there, Ali. How much do you make a week, Ali? You're confined in a place like that. What, $10 maybe?
Yeah, sometimes some of the guys who run the canteen line that sell some of the chips and other assortments, they make $50 a week. And if you have a haircut job, you probably make about 15.
Wow.
No real money. But, you know, for guys who are serving 30 and 20 years, they give that as an incentive. But overstand, we're getting taxed. People are getting taxed at the canteen window. None of that stuff is tax-free. Most of the stuff you're paying more than the people are paying for stuff out in the streets. They charge you just like that. And for the so-called melanated people, so-called Negro in there, there's no hair products. There's no lotions for us. That lotion in there has so much alcohol in it, brother. It's just not designed to work for you. You know?
Wow. All right. So from there, let's get Yeshaya 61, verse 1. Isaiah chapter 61, verse 1.
This is the book of Isaiah, chapter 61, verse 1. The Spirit of the Most High, Yahweh, is upon me, because the Most High have anointed me to preach good tidings unto the meek. He have sent me to bind up the brokenhearted, to proclaim liberty to the captives, and the opening of the prison to them that are bound.
So the Most High is sending us, Ali, believe it or not, is to reach these brothers and sisters that are in prison. He sent us to the brokenhearted.
Okay.
To proclaim freedom, liberty, to the captives, meaning those captive in prison and those captive mentally, and the opening of the prisons to those who are bound, to those that can receive this. See, the problem is most of them can't receive this because Shaitan has them in his hip pocket. They're moving with the spirit of Satan, with the spirit of deceit. See, that's what a devil is. When you look up the word devil, Ali, it's a deceiver.
Okay.
So most of these people, man, they have nothing to do all day but to sit around and think how they could get over. Instead of thinking repentance and thinking how to reform oneself, they're just thinking how not to get caught the next time.
Yes, brother. This is exactly what they do. You know, I was blessed to be in a position where I could help at least 25 men get their high school equivalency. And I've always noticed that, you know, the line to get your high school diploma was always shorter, much shorter than the line that they served for chicken that one time they served it in the week. It's like they're putting their guts ahead of their so-called business, their ambitions. And you're right. It's for a lot of the so-called Negroes in there, it's really like a family reunion. You know, a lot of that, none of the stuff is productive, brother. But, you know, you do have some of the very few in there that are trying to, quote unquote, change. But that system is so vicious, brother. You know, it I don't know what is it that allows a lot of those men to get out just to go right back in. It's unfortunate. But I do believe a lot of those brothers who can benefit from the disciples of Christ, you know, TDOC, they can really benefit from that because, you know, even a lot of the things that you offer, brother, will make sure a person does not have to go to prison. You see, there's this overstanding that the Most High has given you with commerce. You know, this is something that will allow a person never to have to, you know, end up in prison. But, you know, you're right. You have a lot of guys in there with time on their hands going back out into the game. You know, that's part of the game, going to prison. And like I said, they're the nicest guys until they need something from you. And I've been in situations where I've had conversations with quote unquote gangsters and key pushers and all these gangster titles, but you come to me for a soup. I'm just a regular dude. I've never lived the street life or anything like that, but you're supposed to be this big dope pusher and you're coming to me for a soup. I never see you make a phone call. You never get mail. You never get a visitation, but you're the big gangster out in the streets. It just doesn't add up. You know, it just doesn't add up. And each and every time, brother, you know, it proves itself time and time again. And there are a lot of those guys, like I say, you do have some who do want to change over and they become some of the most loyalist followers of the Most High. And then you have some that are just hell bent on that deceitful mentality, which is very strange, you know, but, you know, time will tell. Time will tell. I know a lot of those guys want to get out of there, but you have to understand they've contracted. They've bought into a unilateral contract. And, you know, praise the Most High, you know, you take that time in there to study. It's not a time to be playing. And you're right. I wanted to expound upon a lot of those brothers who've never been in, but go in, brother. They are for praying there, especially if you've never dealt with a deceiver before. A lot of those guys are preyed upon in there. They never come out the same. And true enough, that hole, I've heard them in that hole screaming loud and losing their minds and coming out and thinking people was in the cell with them, but there was no one else in there with them. That's definitely not the place to be, you know, but praise the Most High, this information, it is in there about the redemption. So I could imagine, you know, this is just the beginning of the floodgates, because more and more brothers are going to be trying to reach out to you and possibly find out what is it that you can do, what the Most High has allowed you to do to try and help them. And I know some of the brothers and sisters most definitely need help too, but I tell you, you know, find yourself with a Hebrew Israelite organization, because those are running rampant in the prisons. You know, the Hebrew Israelites are starting to wake up in there. There's a very strong congregation in there of us, you know, so that's a blessing that's even taking place. So I would suggest once again to start from there and, you know, let those brothers that are already in there screen the ones that really want help.
Come on. Shalom, brother. Thumbs up as you come in the room, family. Give a thumbs up as you come in the room. From there, let's get the book of Matthew 25 and 36. Matthew 25 and 36, and someone get Hebrew 13, verse 3. Book of Matthew 25, 36. Hebrew 13 and 3.
God, this is the book of Matthew, chapter 25, verse 36. Naked, and ye clothed me. I was sick, and ye visited me. I was in prison, and ye came unto me.
So as you see, Mashiach did go to prisoners. He did go to them. So, you know, if they're coming in the right spirit, Ali, if you got the Ruach on you, you are supposed to show them salvation through repentance. But they have to be in the right spirit. Let's get that Hebrews 13, verse 3.
It's the book of Hebrews, chapter 13, verse 3. Remember them that are in bonds, as bound with them, and them.
So the scriptures is saying, remember those who are in prison as though you were in prison with them. Remember those who are in prison as though you were in prison with them. Read on.
Come on. Remember them that are in bonds, as bound with them, and them which suffer adversity, as being yourselves also in the body.
Right. So it's saying, And remember those who are mistreated, since you are also in a body. You're not free of this body yet. So remember those who are mistreated as you are also in the body. From there, let's go to the book of Ezra, chapter 7, verse 26. Ezra 7:26. And Ezra is talking to us about obeying the Lord. And to those who will not obey the Lord.
On the book of Ezra, chapter 7 and verse 26. And whosoever will not do the law of thy supreme Elohim and the law of the king, let judgment be executed speedily upon him, whether it be unto death or to banishment or to confiscation of goods or to imprisonment.
Come. And from there, let's get Psalm 69 and 33.
God, this is the book of Psalms, chapter 69, verse 33. For the Most High heareth the poor and despiseth not his prisoners.
And 2 Timothy 2, verse 9.
This is the book of 2 Timothy, chapter 2, verse 9. Wherein I suffer trouble as an evildoer, even unto bonds, but the word of Yahweh is not bond.
Leviticus chapter 24, verse 12. Leviticus 24, verse 12. So this is all talking about people being in bondage, in captivity, in prison.
On the book of Leviticus, chapter 24, verse 12. But they put him in ward, that the mind of Supreme Elohim might be showed him, them.
Mm-hmm. So they put him in prison. They put him in custody till the will of Hamashiach should be cleared to them. That they couldn't break his will. That was the point. He was trying to teach them that you cannot break my will. And from there, let's get Acts 12, verse 5. Book of Acts, chapter 12, verse 5.
It's the book of Acts, chapter 12, verse 5. Kepha, Peter, therefore, was kept in prison, but prayer was made without ceasing of the called out assembly unto Yahweh for him.
Paul went through a lot too. I know it's talk about Peter just now, but the latter part of Acts, after Most High took his sight, that's about a mirror image of what it's like going through the process of modern day.
If you believe in the Most High, you could beat over these things, Ali. You could beat the imprisonments, the riots,
Yes.
the sleepless nights.
Yes.
Let's get 2 Corinthians 6, verse 5. 2 Corinthians chapter 6, verse 5. So my mic is in and out here, man.
Khan, this is the book of 2 Corinthians, chapter 6, verse 5. In stripes, in stirrups, in imprisonments, in tumults, in labors, in watchings, in fastings.
So, beatings, imprisonments, riots, labor, sleepless night, hunger. All of that. I mean, if they put Hamashiach in custody, Ali, we don't stand a chance. So they didn't set up a system of legal leads. You go in. It's not about whether you're innocent or guilty. It's about whether or not you could understand how that contract works.
Yes, yes. If you have the wits to match wits in that arena, and the only information you can truly use in that arena is to sit up here and align yourself with the Most High, you know, because in courts we overstood in there that they respect after David's, and here we are descendants after David, and you know that paper is what we're supposed to use in order to not even get into a jam like that. But I do understand, you know, for a lot of brothers and sisters who go through there, it's either you go through that process or you die. So I look at it more as a second calling or a second chance too for a lot of brothers and sisters, because when you really realize that America's not playing any games, I don't think you should be playing any games either. You should start taking very serious the so-called judge's job and the so-called bailiff's job. And they're talking about all of this in the Bible. That's what made a lot of our Hebrew Israelite studies in prison so profound, is because everything that they were talking about in the Bible had actually came to be a reality that we all were experiencing, almost like a rite of passage. And then, you know, that 13th and 14th Amendment, I mean, brother, they've really got it all twisted in there, but I praise the Most High for an outlet like yours, because
Bring that again for a second here.
Oh, well, I don't know what's going on with this thing here, brother, but I was just stating that I'm thankful for an outlet such as this, because it does allow you to be the last one in your family to have to witness something like that. Did that last transmission go through, brothers?
Oh yeah, we got you.
Yes.
Okay, that's a 10-4.
But yeah, to see the similitude of the Most High's word and what's been going on in history, and the platform that Tazadaq has definitely developed with the Spirit of the Most High, it's a real gift. It's a real gift to the people. Most High's gift to the people by far.
So these, you know, like you're saying, Ali, though, they have a contract, and the brothers knew what they were signing up for when they did it.
Okay.
So once they was completely railroaded, that is their reward. That is their punishment. That is their judgment. And so, because when you come to the Most High, that's how you got to come. And they don't get that, Ali. You can't come with any pride. You can't come with a bargain. This is not Las Vegas. You can't bargain with the Most High. You can't come puffed up with pride. You got to come with a broken heart and a crushed spirit. That's the only way you could come, because then you're susceptible to suggestions. But when you're proud and you puffed up, you don't want to hear anything from nobody. You think you know it all. Book of Psalms 34 and 18.
Khan, this is the book of Psalms, chapter 34, verse 18. The Most High is nigh unto them that are of a broken heart, and saith such as be of a contrite spirit.
See that? You have to have a broken and contrite spirit. Let's get Psalms 102, verse 20. The book of Psalms, chapter 102. When you get there, read the 20th verse.
Book of Psalms, chapter 102, verse 20. To hear the groaning of the prisoner, to loose those that are appointed to death.
Come on. Man, I forgot to send this thing to Matthew, man. So many things are going on. I mean, not Matthew, but Romeo. So many things are going on. Anyone else got any precepts here they want to bring out on this particular topic?
Okay.
Concentrate here, man. But I got a lot of things going on.
Okay. I like to bring up on Revelations chapter 2, verse 10,
All
for
right.
some of those brothers and sisters that might be in there that will listen to this broadcasting here. But this is Revelations chapter 2, verse 10. Fear none of those things which thou shalt suffer. Behold, the devil shall cast some of you into prison, that ye may be tried, and ye shall have tribulation 10 days. Be thy faithful unto death, and I will give thee a crown of life. You know, that was one of the things we actually recited a lot while we were in there, you know, especially during the time that pandemic had taken place. That stuff ran rapid through their brothers, and they were trying to suppress it. But, you know, even if it's not that, you have to worry about the interaction with the reprobated minds that run loose in a institution like that. You know, but praise the Most High, there is remedy in there. It's you know, profound sometimes how situations like that, they're not meant to break you, but they're meant to make you stronger if you so choose to align yourself with edifying yourself and stepping away from that reprobated mindset, because they have a library in those institutions most of the time. And praise the Most High, they do allow material to get sent in there if you have loved ones, so you can't edify yourself. You can't really find who you are. You know, I took the same path Brother Malcolm L. Shabazz took, better known as Malcolm X. I educated myself, you know, and while I was in there, I asked the Most High the right questions. I wanted to know who, in fact, thought it was that I was in there. And just as quick as I asked the question, I got an answer. It was me. You know, I didn't have I was never trained in that arena like that before. I had been trained in the weight room. I had been trained in the Navy. I just had never been trained in that arena known as the dog and pony show. And there's actually a definition. You get a good copyright dictionary, it'll tell you who, in fact, that dog and pony show is. It's the judicial system that really has nothing to do with us. You know, that's why I say I'm so thankful for a platform like this, is because, you know, what the Most High inspires Kahan Tazadaq to bring is truly, it truly alleviates you from having to be oppressed. You know, because this is you know, and to a lot of guys too that signed into a lot of those plea deals, you know, that fear is something. That's one thing I was not going to do. Even though the odds were against me, I think they said out of 100%, maybe 95% of people, you know, take plea deals. I was just blessed to be amongst that 5% that took mine to trial, because I actually believed in what I had did. You know, and praise the Most High, it all worked out for me. That judge was screaming 30 years, but the Most High had already put it in my heart that I wouldn't be in there long, just long enough to get his word and true enough, I sat down to my first Hebrew Israelite gathering in there, and I told the Most High sincerely, I didn't get enough. I was not sentenced enough time because I wanted to be able to recite the Torah, the Bible, and bring those scripts and be that clear, just as much as that brother who was at that mic. I wanted to be just as prolific with this information and transparent as he was. And sure enough, with the proper studies and edifications, the Most High set me up to go ahead and become an elder at some of those prison camps and bring this information to these guys. So I'm quite thankful, and that particular scripture is to just let brothers and sisters know, don't have any fear in there, don't lose hope, don't lose faith, because we all have to give up the ghost. That's one thing we all have in common. We've got to leave here. This meat suit can't go with us. So with that being said, stay faithful until the end, and the Most High will have a crown for you. And for the brothers, and I've been in there, that means disciplining yourself from all that foolishness that goes on in there. Because it's truly all a trap. It's an opportunity for you to sit down and really edify yourself, find out who you are. And once you find out who you are, you understand the Most High has the highest bond on you, and nothing supersedes that.
Khan, that actually that takes us back to 2 Corinthians chapter 6. Han brought out earlier about how in verse 5 started with in stripes, imprisonments, and tumults, in labors, in watchings, and in fastings. So Khan brought out that is part of us. But if we go back up to verse 4, this is why this was labeled in there. And I'll go ahead and bring that out. 2 Corinthians chapter 6, verse 4. But in all things, approving our own selves. Brother Ali was just now encouraging those of us that are already in there and those that have not been, to, keep yourselves, from the infections of the world, so that way you don't get taken over, by the stuff that goes on in there, or even the stuff that's available to you while you're not in physical bounds. But this is the things that you do to prove yourselves in all these things. But in all things, approving ourselves as ministers of Yahweh in much patience, in afflictions, in necessities, and in distresses, meaning whether these are all the things that that you would go through. And then you got verse 5, in stripes and imprisonments. So even if you are in prison, these are the things that's taking place. And how do you prove yourselves? That's in verse 6. It reads by pureness, by knowledge, by long suffering, by kindness, by the Holy Spirit, by love unfeigned, by the word of truth, by the power of the Most High, and by the armor of his righteousness. That's this word. And it's supposed to be, as it reads, on your right hand and on your left hand. Meaning no matter which way you turn in your trouble and your turmoil, in your prisons, or you so-called free, and your necessity and your distresses, it's always supposed to be choosing the Most High's word, which is his way. And then skipping down to verse 8, the Kahan brought out, and as all of us that are familiar with this channel know, the facts are on the moon and everything is a test. And this is another way of proving yourselves. If you guys go back and following along, there's no period at all between verses 4 all the way through 8, because it all goes together. But the dog and pony show, you got by honor and by dishonor, by evil report or good report, as a deceiver, as deceivers, and yet true. So it's really all a test of wits, and pushing, toward that better life, the one thereafter. But you living it out right now. So I mean, I've even, at one point, sponsored a couple of brothers, especially this dude Brandon Murphy over here, and he didn't last, unfortunately, but did put a lot of time and energy pointing them, toward the channel, always putting scripts, got his family involved. He didn't, unfortunately, like I said, he didn't end up keeping the faith, but if we have someone on the inside to help, you know what I'm saying, with that, it would be easier. Because I mean, folks got spirits on them, and they'll tell you anything they think you want to hear, and we cannot allow that to sway us or to sow seeds on the bad ground. So I think it's a wonderful idea. This is actually something that was written into the plan a long time ago, giving folks another chance at life. And as we read, Mashiach went to the prison houses. Just gotta get folks screened and move, move by the Spirit only, not by emotions, by ties, or any of that.
Okay, Knock, and I'm hoping any one of those inmates that are listening to this broadcast, hope they know that there's going to be access to that police report. But even with that being said, I hope that they look at TDOC as a catalyst to go ahead and straighten up and want to do what's right, because a lot of the things that are happening to us today, it's coming right out of that Bible. I know Matthew chapter 5, verse 25 is one that always echoes to me, because they never tell you, your lawyer or law dog or whatever it is, it's for educational entertainment purposes only. He never tells you to agree with the adversary, but in Matthew's 5:25, it says to agree with thy adversary quickly, whilst thou art in the way with him, lest at any time the adversary deliver thee to the judge, and the judge deliver thee to the officer, and thou be cast in prison. I mean, here it is right here, right in front of our faces a lot of the time. But I do understand that's a very rough place to be at. I mean, here it is. None of the pastors ever say, "Hey, let's look up hell." Did you know one of the words that they describe hell as is inmate in the Bible, in the Strong's Concordance 875-85? And then it says, "Woe unto the pastors" in Jeremiah 23:1-2. Woe unto the pastors that scatter the sheep. And then they don't come to the prison houses to even visit. I'm going to see if I can read that verbatim, because a lot of these so-called pastors that we've paid tithes to, they've actually contracted with you to visit you in prison if the going ever got tough. But here it is in Jeremiah 23:1-2. It says, therefore, verse 2, it says, "Therefore saith the Most High, the God of Israel, is against the pastors that feed my people. You have scattered my flock and driven them away, and you have not visited them." No pastors come visit the brothers in the prison houses. No pastors. Just some water washed down, chaplain that's full of the Eurocentric mentality. He's definitely not there to shed any truth to the light. So I'm all aboard with trying to help some of those brothers out there, but I'm a firm believer in the deceit that goes on with there also. You got a lot of great pretenders, great actors in there too, just to get out and do whatever. But I don't want to focus in on that. I like to focus in on some of the brothers and sisters that are listening to this broadcast thing, that are in there. Just stand strong and continue to seek the Most High. If there is some Hebrew Israelite camps within those prison houses, try to definitely align yourself with it. And to the brothers and sisters, definitely try to avoid also getting caught up in a lot of worldly ways that are in there. A lot of brothers are, and I can speak for this because I've been in there and I've seen it. I've seen them succumb to the spirit of succubus, and it's a terrible thing, But praise the Most High, moving on and moving forward. brothers and sisters in there, try to do your time, because you did make yourself you did take a plea deal 9 times out of 10. And first of all, you don't plead to another Homo sapien for your life anyway. I know when I heard that ridiculousness that the magistrate was telling me, he says, are you going to plead in felony? Are you going to plead guilty to this felony? First thing I could think in my head, me pleading for my life to another Homo sapien, give me the guillotine, and then that word felony, it really put a message in my mind as if I fell on knee, and pleaded to another Homo sapien for forgiveness. Get out of here. I don't see that. Just, I'll see you next lifetime. If I have to go out like this was the mentality that I had, because there's no way that I'm going to plea out to another Homo sapien for my survivor and my salvation. It just doesn't work like that. But this is how they once again get you to disengage yourself with the Most High, because he doesn't swear. He tells you not to swear, but in the so-called judicial settings, they have you swearing. And when I told them I don't swear, they looked pretty crazy. Didn't ask me to swear at all. Asked me to affirm, to tell the truth. So that's why I say an outlet like this, oh my goodness, that person can be the sacrificial lamb for their families, because this is what I'm offering my family, an opportunity for none of them to ever have to, get railroaded like that again, solicited like that again, especially by way of the dog and pony show, the quote unquote, easily to dismantle courtrooms. If one chooses to sit up here and align himself with the teachings here that Brother Kahan Tazadaq and the true disciples are bringing, I'm so thankful that there is a organization such as this, because it's like nothing else that I've ever seen. The Most High has allowed Brother Kahan Tazadaq to bring that Torah and then follow it up with commerce for educational entertainment purposes. Man, what a blessing. What a blessing. I know I'm glad to say that I did go through my scenario. It only made me stronger. And I tell you, I'd rather it have been me than anyone else in my family. And when I say that, I mean that. And, you don't want to put yourself in a scenario where you're throwing good money after bad money, like my family drained into the system while I was in there. No, we're going to nip this right in the butt before it could ever even go farther than that. So a lot of people have quite a bit to learn, as a result of coming out of there. And the people that are in there, you're in great company. Just look at Martin Luther King, Brother Malcolm X. You have a lot of our great shakers and movers out there who were oppressed like this, but came out on top of it all. And it's a something easily that can be remedied, very easily that can be remedied by one staying in contact with this organization and constantly staying tuned in to Kahan Tazadaq. This, you never have to worry about going through this. So I'm just blessed to be actually on an outlet like this that broadcasts as actual truth and facts to really make a difference. Other than that, I don't know anybody else is breaking it down to this type of clarity.
They ain't out there at all. That's what drew me in, more reality. I really, my spirit wasn't in line with the whole Moorish community thing. I'm like, there's got to be another way. It's like, there's no way I'm gonna be out here risking my life serving what I thought was my country, and then come back to be, oppressed. I was like, there's no way. And the journey took me on it was 3 years. And then the closer I got, the more, different things started to happen. So it's like, okay, so apparently I'm going in the right direction because I'm reaching more and more opposition. And then boom, talk shoe radio. Boom. Yeah, man. I mean, the Khan was going at it, man. He was going at it and I spent literally, I'd say, about 2.5 years straight and trying to get caught up from all of Kahan Tazadaq's old videos, and you can see how things changed and how he's progressed, you know what I'm saying, over the years, there's literally no doubt. Like there's no doubt. You know, so for someone like me who I actually have a thing against fear. Like even
Yes.
before, like I would, if I see fear in anyone that's close to me, I would purposely try to put that in front of them and, you know, try to help them through that by making them face it. So I mean, I do that with myself first, but the way that he lays it out, there is no need for any fear anywhere, like
Mm-mm.
at all. So you just got to go through it.
Yes.
You read how Mashak went through it. You read how Paul went through it. You
Mhm.
know, and each one of them, you know, they came on top. Then you can see modern day Tazadaq going through it in every scenario. He done got how many books now?
Yes.
You read about his life, you can see it, the testimonies. There's if folks really want to like change your life for the better, there's I mean he's laid it out in every way possible. And he makes references to, you know, for history and the Bible and everything. Like it's there's no reason. Now it's as easily as it sounds like I'm saying that. Do not misunderstand. You walking through that, you will be put through the ringer. You will be put through the fire just the same. But to know what the outcome is going to be, that's like leaps and bounds above most.
Okay, and it's best not to wait until you get into trouble to try to do this, because you can already imagine the resistance that brothers in prison are going through trying to reach out to Kahan for some type of help. You know, a lot of that mail has to be screened and just all types of distractions. So it's best to know this now so that when they solicit you early, you'll be able to stop it right there at the arraignment. And then not only that, you know, shame on the people that fears man, but they don't fear the one that created the heavens and the earth. That's who you better be trying to make sure you get your redemption by, and get it by way of the Most High, because none of this works without being on that particular frequency. But some people have to, I understand, learn the hard way, and then it may just in fact be too late. Because here it is, I imagined something like this was going to happen in life before it was all said and done, you know, due to the fact of how unjust the system is within itself, because that judicial system has done nothing for the so-called Negro of America but railroad him on each and every instance. You know, I even look at some of the most, I guess these people consider themselves to be riches by way of earthly means. You know, like Bill Cosby. Bill Cosby could have benefited just from a few of Tazadaq's, you know, broadcasters and things like that. Wesley Snipes. Yeah, it's like a lot of melanated brothers have been, it's like the assassination of Yahuda. I mean, then now you got R. Kelly in his scenario, and this is like old stuff that happened then. Not trying to take sides to any of these people. It's just so ironic how, you know, we just keep getting railroaded on each and every basis there is. It's always bias in that courtroom. That's the real gangster in the city, that judge. But no one's trying to flip him. I remember I made that comment while I was in the house of bondage. I said, all you gang members and things of that nature and all these side gangs, you guys ain't never tried to flip the judge. That's the one that's putting a lot of you guys in here. But you guys don't want to show up. You guys don't want to listen to the real facts. I don't know what it is that compels a person to want to walk off a cliff blindfolded. You know, that's no way to live. And then you get into places like that so-called house of bondage. And I mean, it's terrible in there, brothers. It's terrible in there. But, you know, only the strong survive by way of the Most High's blessings in those type of predicaments. And, you know, I just hope a lot of brothers and sisters in there stay tuned and stay in touch once they get out, because you never do forget about when that judge actually hits that gavel and, you know, sentences you. You know, you never do forget that moment, but you don't want that to happen to anybody else in your family or your so-called circle. So for a lot of brothers and sisters that are getting out of there, don't go out, don't leave out of there and get into all the materialistic things, the symbolism. Get out and make some investments into some things that have substance. A lot of the books that Tazadaq prescribes that he can bear witness to, those are books of substance. That's one thing I told myself I was going to do once I got out of there. I was not going to get caught up in the whole materialistic things. I wanted books of substance, and praise the Most High. Like you, Brother General Yashabim, I ended up running into Tazadaq's channel. I asked for him while I was in confinement. I asked the Most High to align me with the brother that loved him and that respected him just as much as I did, that was based on facts. And the Most High allowed me to run into this channel, and I mean, it's been history ever since. So I'm thankful for all of you brothers that continually to help keep Kahan Tazadaq encouraged and help to support that brother, because it's not easy. You best believe there's repercussions for bringing people out of the wilderness, and especially those brothers that are in prison. Those are repercussions, that you get for trying to alleviate those brothers from that unilateral contract. But, praise the Most High, no weapons formed against us shall ever prosper.
Yeah, they don't let certain things in there. And if you don't, voice your rights, like Gahan said, you don't have any, because you're supposed to be allowed pen, paper, access to a law library,
Okay.
counsel and all that. They'll just let all that go by until you say something. And people be in there for years and have no idea.
Mm-hmm.
They try to trap me up, have me in an orange suit and everything. And, you got folks in there talking about some, what you going to say, what you going to do. So, I was in there for about a week praying, doing my little exercises, reciting, the Most High's Mashiach's prayer, and I talked to him about these books, and ignorant to myself, I didn't know there was like another Tazadaq out there, because a couple folks called me. It was like, is it this other, is it this Tazadaq? I was like, I don't know who that is, and that's when I found out about this whole Tazadaq. Yeah, I was like, nah, not that one. It's the other one.
Okay.
When I was in, dude, it was like, so you just gonna go in there and just say exactly what you told us? And I was like, yep, this is exactly. I was like, watch it work, and they end up going a whole nother way. Like, it went in my favor. They end up like it's like a 2.5 year deal where they kept like folding the case. So me just reading and learning, they end up putting what was that thing? And I sent it to Tazadaq. They end up dismissing it under the grounds of not having enough evidence or something crazy. But there's a special name for it. I need to go find it. But I mean, to look at the file being 3 years long, just for the sake of trying to soak your time, energy, and money up. You know what I'm saying? That's what really blows my mind. And it's worth every penny, every book, every video, every webinar, seminar. Yes. It is worth it to not ever have to go through anything like that and be blind. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Because I mean, a lot of folks are in there for small things, like nothing, just out of sheer ignorance.
Presumptions, allegations, and they go right for it. They never even ask. They never even ask to certify the charges on the record. That's one thing I come to realize. And I think what upsets a lot of brothers and sisters while we're in there is that we run into bits and pieces of this information, and somehow we get someone on the outside to solidify that it's true. And then you overstand the type of, unilateral contract that you got yourself into. And then you study enough and you ask yourself, well, the reality of it is this. We've all been paying charges since the first day we got some cash in our pockets and we went to the store. The only thing that made the charges in the courtroom, not lawful is the fact that they never offered us a receipt. And that's what bugged me the most, is that here I
Yes.
am. I've accepted charges, but I've been doing charges lawfully all my life, because I would go to Wendy's, I would order something, and I pay for it. They give me the food, and I get a piece of paper known as a receipt to show what happened, something lawful to say, hey, we did good business. But, the thing about in courts, when they say you face charges, nobody ever certifies the charges on the record by showing a receipt. And that's what I think, that's what bugs a lot of brothers and sisters in there, because you come into this knowledge, and for some of them, unfortunately, it's too late. And the Most High, he doesn't make a mistake. Some people are in there because they honestly need to be in there. And you have some people in there who I've met and come across, you just hope they never get out of there. But I do understand for the people who the Most High does, anoint, you come into the knowledge that you did this to yourself. I was a big Xbox gamer. I don't even get on it anymore. But instead of Xboxing it up, I should have been Tazadaqing it up. I should have been UCC 1ing it up. I should have been Black Laws Dictionarying it up. But you don't know to study these type of things. And then Black Laws Dictionary, everybody who quote unquote the so-called blacks should have a Black Laws Dictionary, but you don't come into the realization of this stuff until you are actually put into the frying pan. But I have no regrets of making that transition, being on that journey in there, because I tell you, I really needed that time from society to understand that society is really public enemy number one. There's a solicitor waiting on each and every corner, and they speak about this in the Bible. So I was thankful that the Most High had already put into a lot of brothers who had been previously in there to start a Hebrew Israelite camp. And it's good to know that this one is potentially on its way to try to bring the brothers the good news in there, bring them the good word, because that was another problem we were running into. There were no sponsors. So, the high holy days, the Feast of Unleavened Bread, and, the Passover, those things would take place, and there was no sponsor to do a thing. So, this is a blessing to know that, we can possibly help some of the, falsely imprisoned, help some of them in this transition. I just want to encourage the brothers and sisters that are tuning in, that are in there, and the families of ones that are out here listening in. Those family members that have loved ones in there, stay tuned to this outlet here, because there's a lot of vital information that they can pick up. Go to one of the seminars that Tazadaq has. They can get their own folks up out of there if they did enough of the personal studies themselves. Somebody in the family is going to have to need this. I think every so-called Negro family here in the States should have someone tuned into this channel, because it doesn't matter who the oppressor solicits. It's either one or two things are going to happen. You're going to end up getting done in by the so-called constable, or you're going to get done in by the so-called courts. So I think it's best for someone to even take that time out and study. My goodness, it doesn't take much. It doesn't take much. The ability to read, the ability to write and comprehend. You never have to worry about those so-called, solicitors soliciting you like that again. Because I definitely wouldn't want to have to go through that for a second journey. And I definitely am studying this so no one else in my family has to either. But I'm so thankful once again for a platform like this, and that the Most High is using Tazadaq to bring this information. You've got my support, brother, 100%. With all us brothers that are supporting you on this channel. But some type of relief has to come to those brothers in there. Might not be able to save them all, but it'd be nice to make some type of impact, because the best thing that this organization, in my opinion, can offer them is exactly what the Most High is allowing Tazadaq to give us now, and that's knowledge, because that is power, right knowledge at that. They never have to worry about being put in snare holes or being put in confinement or things like that. But I tell you, that 14th and 13th Amendment makes all that possible, and that's so crazy. How do you free people with the quote-unquote exception? Just doesn't make any sense.
Well, that's it for me, guys.
Well, praise the Most High, Ak Shalom, and it's a blessing to once again speak with you, brothers. And Tazadaq, thank you so much for throwing these type of broadcastings, brother. Praise the Most High.
Well, praise is due to the Most High, man.
Oh, it's a blessing for real.
All right, so I'm gonna say shalom, and everyone be safe, man. Have a safe night.
Shalom.
To the Most High. Shalom.
Shalom.
Shalom.